Hi, my name is Delaney. I'm your hostess for this new channel, Batchall Briefings. Batchall Briefings is a YouTube channel about Battletech, and once in a while we may have battles between I and some of my friends, and I'll give you a little bit of my backstory here in just a moment in the first episode of Batchall Briefings.
Batchall Briefings,
a channel dedicated to talking about and playing Battletech, a game of armored combat. A challenge has been issued. Do you accept the challenge, Sirrah?
Hi, I'm Delaney, and Batchall Briefings is a channel about Battletech. And a little bit of my background is I've been playing Battletech since Battletech was called Battle Droids back in the early 1980s. And I started playing because of a friend of ours and a gaming group came in with this box set of Battle Droids and said, "Hey, I've got this cool new game that I think you all would love to play." And we kind of scoffed it off for a little while. And by the time we got around to playing it, well, the game had already been changed to Battletech. So I and one of my other friends went and bought the starter box of Battletech, and we started playing. We started playing actually with 3D terrain almost right away. Now, the other player, Steve, was a model railroader, and we would take the cardboard mats and cut out all the hexes for the terrain and glue 1-inch thick styrofoam on top of that to make the hills. So we have the hills stacked, and we would use bushes and things like that for trees, for the forest, light forest and heavy forest. And then not long after that, they started coming out with the Raw Partha minis, and we started buying the metal minis and painting them up just however we felt like. There was now you have to remember, back in this time frame, there wasn't a lot of lore for Battletech, and just a little bit, but not a lot. There wasn't a whole lot talked about it, and there were no official paint schemes for mechs. We just kind of painted them however we felt like doing it. So I actually had a mech that was it was a Crusader that I had painted in Tiger Stripe. And then I had another one that was a Phoenix Hawk that I called my All-American Freedom Mech, which was red, white, and blue stars and stripes. And it was just kind of fun. Now, the only problem with those old mechs was your Locust was as big as a Atlas. So the scale was pretty off. And your tanks, like your Demolisher, was huge. It was a real big, huge tank. But we would often play Battletech, and I picked Kurita as my main force. I just thought the logo was kind of cool, and Steve was almost always Davian or Federated Sons. And then other players that we had, had their favorites, whether it was Steiner or Merrick or Lau. That was pretty much the forces we had. We didn't have clans back then. We didn't have pirates. We had a few mercenaries like the Wolf Dragoons and the Black Widows, and there were Iridani light horses and some of those other ones. There wasn't a lot out there. The universe has definitely expanded a lot since then. But that's just kind of a little bit of my background. I kind of got out of Battletech for a little while. I got back into it with the Mech Clicks when I had boys, and I got into it playing it with my boys and going to some of the local gaming stores, playing Mechy Click, Battletech, Mech Warrior, and played all the PC games at the time, Mech Warrior 1 and Mech Warrior 2 and Crescent Hawks, and those were all really fun. And I always had a love for Battletech, and I got out of it again after a while. And then when Catalyst came out with the Clans Kickstarter, I got into it a little bit late and got in whole hog and started playing mechs. Now, I kind of had a falling of love with with the clan's Ghost Bears. Just something about their logo, and once again, I didn't really get into the lore. I just kind of got into it because, okay, that logo is kind of cool, and I like bears. I love bears. So I'm going to pick the Ghost Bears. And I'm pretty much whole hog on Ghost Bears, but I play other clans, and I still play Kurita. Kurita is one of the forces I still play in Battletech games when I play Inner Sphere, or I'll play my own mercenary unit that I call the Night Witches, which is, yes, based upon the Russian women pilots of World War II called the Night Witches. And yes, I know about the Sabaton song, Night Witches. But anyway, what's this episode going to be about? Well, I recently got all my Battletech mercenary Kickstarter pieces and have them in packing, but just recently Ares Games came out with their they got in stock the salvage boxes. So today I'm going to do a salvage box unboxing of both mechs and support vehicles. So I got 12 boxes of the salvage boxes of the mechs and 9 of the support vehicles. So I'm going to do an unboxing and kind of do a guessing of weight. I've got a scale to see if I can guess how accurate I am on what feels heavier and what feels lighter. And we'll see what I come up with from this release of the recently released salvage boxes for the mechs and for the support vehicles. So with that, I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so the first part of this, here is the support vehicles, salvage box, Battletech support. This is 12 of them. This is my invoice from Ares Games. Ares always sends you a card, information, and a sticker. I got so many of these stickers, it's not even funny. Yeah, 9 of the support vehicles and 12 of the Mercenaries salvage boxes. I thought it was a pretty good deal. So once again, the support, and then and you can see the 9 there. So I'll be right back in a second because I forgot. No, I actually have a knife here. Okay, we're going to start with the mechs. So we're going to see, and I have a table scale. We'll be right back, and I'm going to do the measuring. Okay, so we're going to take the boxes. We're going to just try and weigh them and see. Okay, this one seems light. This one seems kind of heavier. That one seems... This one feels a little bit lighter. That one feels kind of medium. This one's still the heaviest. It feels fairly light. That one feels fairly light. That one feels really light. That one feels heavy. Kind of heavy. Very heavy. Heavy. And kind of heavy. Okay. So I'm going to turn this around and we're going to kind of evaluate these. Okay. I'll start with the light ones first. There's 5 light ones. There's one I was kind of medium, and 6 what I thought were kind of heavy. So I'm going to turn this around and point the scale. Okay, we're going to start off with weighing them here to see how accurate I was. We'll try and put them in order here too. That one's 33. That's light. 36, 38, 35, 35, 38. So there's two that are weighing 38. This one was a 36. Yeah. Two 35s and a 33. Now we're going to go over what I thought was heavier. 42. 37. Wow. Okay. 33. Was it 33? Yeah. Wow. That was shocking. See, I'm not very good at this. 43. 49. And to 35. Okay. So we'll put this aside for now. And we will start this unboxing as soon as I can find my knife. Where did I put my knife? Yeah, there it is. Okay. We'll start with the two light ones. So this is it first. So you can see I have not done anything on these yet. I'll open from the bottom. So I'm going to slice my finger off. There we go. Looks like we got a flea. Flea, little one. Flea. Yep, definitely a flea. Okay. So we'll set that one there as we drop it. I think I've already got a couple of fleas in the singles. So that was definitely a lightweight one. We're going to go to the next one. And it looks like we got a little chink, a little cover. The galleon. So definitely a lightweight one there. So I wonder if CGL is going to fix if you buy the salvage boxes and if you get vehicles in them instead of mechs. Okay, this is one of the next light ones. I think this was a 34. Yeah. I think, there we go. Fire starter, I think, maybe. Yep, fire starter. Now, I can't say I know all of the mechs in and out. Let's see, a little fire starter. But I kind of know them. So these aren't, as you can tell, I haven't opened any of these to know what they are. They're still sealed. What is that one? Is that another fire starter? No. Hermes 2. I know the Hermes. I'm not that familiar with the Hermes 2. Light mechs. So as I go through these, and if you feel like posting something, what your background in Battletech. Now, I actually have a little story about Battletech. I'll tell you about this and how Battletech came to be from, it's a Spectre, from a guy that I know who was a game distributor who actually tells the story of how Battletech came to be. So many years ago, there was a guy I knew by the name of Mark Simmons. Mark Simmons now is how he goes by his name. And Mark is I met him, he was a game store distributor. And Mark would bring goodies to my local gaming store. And he was a game designer as well. Cool. He had a board game that was kind of a fantasy game, Griffin 2C, and he was a really brilliant guy, and he ended up starting his own distribution company. He was also a guy that I knew from doing LARP with. International Fantasy Gaming Society, which is a Colorado-based LARP group. And that's how I kind of really got to know Mark. That and through his distributorship at my local gaming store. And I would go in there when he was in there and I would chat. Kind of got to know him. Oh, looks like an Ostol. One of the Ostol. And anyway, so with Mark, he started his own distribution company, and he went to Japan and he bought all of the Robotech models, and he came back and I believe it was in Chicago. He met up. He knew Jordan Weissman because Jordan was a game designer, and he hooked up with Jordan one night in a bar, in a restaurant, and I'm not sure what that little guy is. They sat down drinking and eating, and Mark started showing him Dervish. Started showing all these models that he bought from Japan, from Robotech. And I've heard Jordan kind of tell the story. He can't remember the guy, and he kind of tells it a little bit different from what I had heard. But, you know, everyone has their own story. But they sat in this place, eating and drinking, and kind of designing the game that would become Battletech. Oh, cool. Scorpion. I got a story about scorpions, too. And that's how Battletech came about being, was the two sat in this restaurant, drinking beer, and creating Battletech, just kind of writing it out. Scorpion. That's my first Scorpion from a salvage box. I've got a couple of the other ones from the regular boxes. But that's how Battletech kind of came about being, was Mark showing Jordan all these Battletech or Robotech models and them writing, kind of roughly creating out the game of Battletech. And then Mark was pretty much out of it at that time. But, you know, his claim to fame was he's the one that brought the Robotech models to the United States. And that's how the game kind of got going. Ooh, sweet. A grizzly. That'll go great with my ghost bears. That's the first grizzly I've pulled out of the box. And so it's just kind of an interesting story that a lot of people don't know and have never heard. I know that, like I said, Jordan has hit upon it a little bit in some of the talkings, but this is the story how I heard it, and from the horse's mouth of Mark Mark Simmons one day while we were LARPing out in the woods, camping after a game. And which is just kind of a fun little story. Now, the story behind the Scorpion is the Scorpion, I remember getting a model of a Scorpion in another game. Mark had his distributorship, and I and a friend went to his warehouse one day, and I was walking around, and there was this game with, it had a couple little miniatures in it, and one of them was a Scorpion. And I think the other was a Griffin, and then they had little metal trees that was on a game board. One of the local guys in my area actually says, "Oh yeah, was it this game?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it was, but I can't remember what it was." It had a little periscope. And as I was telling you, when we played Battletech on 3D Terrain, Phoenix Hawk 2C, that's what that one was. Big boy. There was a Scorpion in it. And that was where the Scorpion came from. It wasn't from Robotech. It wasn't from Battletech. It was from another game altogether. And the periscope was probably about that big. And when we used the 3D Terrain, we would use that periscope for sighting to say, "Wow, yeah, you can see me. You can't see me." So just kind of some fun stuff there on how we used to play and how we do sighting. We didn't have laser and everything else. So if there was a discrepancy, we'd pull out the little periscope and sight with it. Oh, Goliath. Yeah, little Goliath. That's the first one of those I've gotten in a salvage box. So my guessing on the weight was pretty much spot on for those stuff in the back of the box, because we're going to be moving on here in just a moment to the support vehicles. But anyway, that is the mechs. Pretty quick opening of them. I just wanted to show you what the randomness was and kind of get a quick opening. I'll be right back with the other ones. Okay, on to set 2 with the support vehicles. Okay, heavy or light? This one kind of feels heavy. This one feels heavier. Still heavier. Definitely heavier. This one feels kind of light. Feels lighter. So I'm not very good at this. How I feel. This one feels a little heavier. Feels lighter. Lighter. About mid. Feels kind of heavier. Okay, let's see how well I did. Light. 53. 52. Ah, not doing so good. 48. 52. How much was this one? 52. So those weigh about the same. 53. 52 as well. 60. 51. What's that one? 52. 48. 47. See, I was way off. Okay, what was this one? 48. Okay, we're going to start with the light one. These far as weight goes, scientifically determined. 148, and this was 47. Okay, turn that off. Send that back over there, and we'll start with the first one. Now, I don't get to play Battletech that often. I have a group in my area that plays every Wednesday. Unfortunately, I'm usually very busy on a Wednesday because I have to get up really early for my job. So I don't really get much of a chance. Once in a while, I'll get to go and play Battletech with the local people. And then usually a couple times a year, there's a big game that goes on in the area. Now, the state I live in, Colorado, we have a pretty big following of Battletech. And we have our own Discord channel. There is the WolfNet, some of the guys from WolfNet, and then some of the guys who actually write for the Shrapnel books, like Charles Gideon. Gideon's a great guy. Writes for the Shrapnel magazine, along with Ben. There's another guy, Ben. I can't remember Ben's last name. There's a few of them, but Gideon's the one that I know probably the most. So we got a galleon. And we got a vedette. So there's a little galleon. And here's the vedette. Oop, bounces in there. I like that they put foam in these to kind of protect them. So we'll set those over there along with their box. Next lightweight one. Now tanks I know a lot less. Oh, Long Tom. Than I do of mechs, because tanks were not something that we used a lot when I came out playing Battletech. So yeah, Long Tom. I know guys that love to play those in games. Yeah, Long Tom, mobile Long Tom. Pretty cool. When I did the Mercenaries Kickstarter, I actually did I got 3 of all of the support unit box sets. And then 2 of all the mech units, except for the legendary, which I got 1 each of those boxes. So I actually had, I think I had 3 battalion levels, I think is what I did. Oh, a helo. So it looks like we have a pike. And we have the warrior. Pike and the warrior. I usually magnetize mine. And I magnetize the base and the top of the stand. So I'd probably chop these off and magnetize them. And in that way I can put them up or I can put them down as if they're landed. Now, while I play Battletech, my husband does not play Battletech. He's not interested in that. He does play fantasy RPGs or sci-fi RPGs or other RPGs. He just is not into miniature gaming. We both played Flames of War for a little while, but he just didn't get into Flames of War either. Same with Oak and Iron. Oak and Iron's another game that I've played that he didn't like, that I love. Alright, what do we got here? Let's see. Looks like we got a Von Lucknar. The Von Lucknar. The Green Orb. And a Pegasus. Nice little hovercrafts. Von Lucknar. Pretty cool. There. Again. If you wonder what I do paint my minis. I do airbrush. What I do by hand is accents and things like that. But I do everything airbrushing. And I will, future episodes, show you some of my paint. I don't think I'm a great painter. The guys in my area will tell you that I am. I don't think I am. As far as paints go, I don't use Army Painter paints. I don't do what they call slap chop. I airbrush with regular, usually either Vallejo or Reaper, AK, and there's another airbrush one that I love using. But I don't like using the Army Painter paints. I hate Army Painter paints. Oh, another Von Lucknar and another Pegasus. I've been painting minis since 1980 or so. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a great painter. The guys I play with will tell you that I am. Some people will say I've got skills. I don't think I have skills. I paint a lot of fantasy RPG miniatures, not Warhammer. I don't play Warhammer. I've never bought into the Warhammer deal. I bought Warhammer minis a long time ago. Games Workshop, a friend of mine and I would order minis directly from Games Workshop. So I have a bunch of those in either Minotaurs or Ogres, Orcs. I've got some pretty rare pieces like Elric. I tend to paint a lot of different stuff. I played Flames of War. My husband started off painting the Flames of War, and then I took over. Well, it looks like we got another warrior. Warrior in a Stormfuhrer. Stormfuhrer. Another warrior. Helos, fast attack. Go in, take them out. There's a lot of guys that play with Helos. One of the first big games I played in, I played against another girl in my area, and she just stomped me because she had that Helo, and she would fly in and drop infantry pieces off and fly away and come in and come around my back and back attack and just take me out. And I'd never played with Helos or anything like that before. She was a good gamer. She was a good sportsman too, or sportswoman. Let's see, another Vedette and a Pike, Christopher Pike. The Vedette. Once again, I don't know tanks that well. There's a few of them that I kind of know, but not really. Things like the Demolisher. I think everybody knows the big old, huge, massive Demolisher. Slow and I don't tend to play a lot of tanks when I play, but I will probably be starting to. I've been painting up some of the old Ironwind metal tanks, and I have a 3D printer, so I've done a lot of 3D printing of tanks that I have in my collection, but I'll be phasing those out with these if there is an actual model with them. What do we got? Oh, we got a Shrek. Oh, donkey! We've got a Shrek. Got another galleon. So something kind of galleons. I'm getting a lot of these. A Shrek. Donkey. Yes, it does turn. My concern is when I paint these, because like I said, I airbrush, is popping these off and then make sure the paint gets all the way underneath. Same with primer, where it doesn't stick. And then basing, so I like to base things, and these are kind of stuck down, so I'll have to figure out basing once I start painting my tanks, because I like to do kind of a theme. When I do my Ghost Bears, I usually do snow on the ground, with my Kurita Sword of Light, the first Sword of Light. I've done kind of a desert. I'm doing some wolf dragoons right now, which are kind of on a Mars-type red planet with some shrubbery and rocks on them. I've done some sea wolves or sea foxes, excuse me, sea foxes, where I've done, looks like they're coming up out of water. So there's water on the back side and beaching on the front side. My night witches I typically do in just kind of a basic, like an earth, shrubbery, grass, some rocks here or there. Yeah, tons of galleons. Last box. Let's see what we've got here. Some of this may end up being trade stock. Oh. Our tank. And another Shrek. Why'd you do that to me, donkey? What do we got? No. Stormfuhrer. Oh, that is a Stormfuhrer. I said it was a hover tank. No, that's a Stormfuhrer. See, don't know my tanks that well. I should have looked. Track vehicle, not hover. Duh. Like I said, definitely a Shrek. Nope, yep, Shrek. Not as big a boys as I wished I would have gotten, but oh well, good enough. I'm never dissatisfied. And then if I got a bunch of something, I can always trade it to the people in my area. So we've got a pretty big trade community. All right, so that will conclude my unboxing in this first inaugural episode of Batchall Briefings. And I'll be back sometime soon. Maybe show some of my painting. I probably won't show you how I paint. I don't get often time to paint, but when I do, I probably wouldn't record it because I just I don't have the concentration to do that and have something zoomed in while I'm trying to airbrush something and be in my way and maybe get paint all over my camera. So anyway, that's my episode of Batchall Briefings, and we'll see you soon. Get a Batchall going.